Well, I think we will start on the next company we will give a short introduction to and look into the numbers. DecideAct, one of the ones I will give an introduction, maybe it's more just a small one, have been working in very large companies, been involved in so many strategic projects, ending up in nothing. I always kind of get a good feeling when I hear you present, Flemming. So you can do the next introduction, Flemming Widersen, CEO of DecideAct.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us for today. I just wanted to give a short brief of what are we really doing and what problem are we solving. First of all, as you see on my first slide, we know that $3 million is wasted every minute globally in wasted strategies. So strategies never reach their goals. That means a little less than 2 trillion in a year. So there's a problem to solve, absolutely. Secondly, if I should just give a very brief intro to what is DecideAct then. So we are kind of 3 things for any organization that have chosen to use us. First of all, we offer a top-down governance of strategy. That means that makes it possible for organizations to take their strategy execution as serious as they do their finances and deploy a governance around that, having monthly reports, quarterly follow-ups, and can follow every single step that happens and also cascade the strategy out the organization. Second part, through mobile app and other things, we can engage the complete organization, even any level in the organization, because it's very easy to use our mobile devices or apps, which are rated to usable for 4 years and up by Apple. And then we are also GPS for your strategy. That means that it helps to direct to reach the goals, to notify what has to be done, what's not done, to alert if something is off track, and all sorts of things like that. It would maybe also be nice to know what are the solutions we are offering. We are, of course, a cloud platform, but we are basically tapping into 6 different areas of solutions. First of all, the bigger package, which is corporate strategy execution, also good for organizations who want a lot of reporting and have a lot of obligations like that. Good for mother companies, good for public sector and stuff like that. Then there's the other part of it, which is more the business plan execution or strategy execution, which is more for small and mid-sized companies, maybe less focus on all the big governance part, but still want the governance in place and follow the execution and involve everybody in the organization. Public sector, classic, do 2% cost cut, and then you send the money out again and they'll be used exactly for what they were used to before. So by deploying DecideAct, you can actually follow what are the money used for. You can also use for many other things in public sector where they execute. Ecosystems can be used for large organizations which kind of have a big network of partners, but which are integrated, and then you will sit on the data, but you can have joint execution and on the things. And then a very hot topic right now, it says sustainability here, but the platform is very, very suitable for the ESG agenda, and that means we can help companies also not only monitoring their effort on the ESG, but also actually map from the corporate strategy to ESG dashboards and stuff like that, how it's contributing, and make a cross-functional reporting available. And then, of course, all these functionalities or solutions will, of course, also could be added for a non-for-profit. Like we recently got the National Church of Iceland as a customer, which are using for all their activities. If we look at what we have kind of planned of expansions, then we have said we want to have customers in 10 countries in 2023. About that, our plans till now have been to establish ourselves. We had Iceland as test market. We are now establishing ourselves in Denmark, getting customers and more customers here. We got our first customers in France, more coming, and the same counts for Canada. Next on the agenda for us is like also be present in Norway and Sweden, and then we have to look at what will be next. Of course, we also already now are in Canada and got our first customers there, and also here I can tell that more is on the way. So that is basically how we see ourselves roll out, and hope that we then from Canada in 23 can drive south and go to US. So the last thing, maybe just to say a little bit about why could we be a good investment and why are we? First of all, the product solves a key problem, as I mentioned in the beginning. We are only selling to executives, so we are always speaking to the decision maker, the one with the power. Our technology is extremely competitive, and we are getting more and more, and we have deployed blockchain and other things. We have an international team deployed in 6 countries, and also a team that have all invested in DecideAct and believe in it. And then we are actually on track on our plans for 2021, and we are growing and will grow more, and we are building needed capabilities to scale further. I think I used my 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's perfect. You actually hit it exactly. So good strategic implementation. Kasper, will you take it to go a little bit through the numbers of DecideAct?
Thank you, Michael. I will. Just in a minute. Let's see here. Yeah, so here we have the numbers. Looking at the expected total ARR for 2021, DecideAct expect 9.5 million. And going forward, or in this, if you take your estimated ARR for 2020, it is about 76% of increase. So it's a high ARR growth. And if we take a longer view on the numbers, we see that the expected compound annual growth rate towards 2023 is in fact 119%, or just approximately. So it's very high growth rates, and maybe we can turn back to this in a minute, Flemming. But if we just look at the valuation multiples, these are forward, so it's not historical. Like these numbers or data points are in the chart down on the right side. However, we see that if DecideAct managed to fulfill the expectations, they are actually valued below the line or this trend line, so or quite a huge gap actually. So I think investors should follow or really track the new contracts and see whether DecideAct fulfills the expectations. But as I said before, this is not the only factor to follow. We also have an assessment of DecideAct here, and basically we see that most of them are in a very good place, and key SaaS metrics will increase if or when we get more data about what is the churn rate and if you can fulfill your ARR growth rates. Maybe we can hear more about your upselling potential later in the questions in a moment. Also, the global scalability, we will hear more about that, but you already have customers in Canada and France, outside Denmark and Iceland, so you have been able to kind of scale it across the borders and also outside Europe already. So and also, if you look at the onboarding process, maybe you can tell us more about that, but it's very short for your software solution. And again, technology level, you have also implemented some things that we can hear more about. And yeah, so our assessment is also in the green here. And finally, yeah, you don't have a specific total addressable market. So, but in your comment description, you mentioned, or you have written that the customer CRM market can be just as high as this in the future, but we don't have some specific estimate at the moment. But maybe also you can elaborate on that in a minute. But as we see it, it's immature still, the market, and there's a huge demand for this because, yeah, as you told us, the National Church of Iceland use it, and every kind of industry can use your
3 million wasted every minute. Kind of say there must be a huge potential.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Flemming, I think we should turn to the questions now, where you can dig into these things that we have made here. So starting out with the SaaS metrics, first of all, maybe you can tell us more about in the future whether you're going to report this or just for investors to know, and moreover also you can tell us how you should grow above the market and looking at the churn and upselling potential and so on. So it's many questions, but I hope that you are with me here.
Yes. First of all, I think we are not only a tool, but actually we are an integrated part of the strategy culture and the leadership of an organization we first are deployed. The churn is quite low. We have also established a customer success department, which already are working very well with our customers. We qualify them very well before we onboard them and the process, and we also follow them. We are a premium tool, so we have the minimum we have is a quarterly view with our customers, and we can of course add expertise to help them further. We have a team with very many years of experience in this area as well. In terms of churn, we are in general expecting no more than 10%. Currently, we are not seeing it as big as that. But of course, the faster we grow, the bigger risks there are, of course, the churn will raise. I think you should also compare that we are not online converting tool. It's like when you buy a finance system or something else. So there is a good diligent process before you're buying it, and that will lower the churn part as well, compared to if you just convert online. And of course, we will report on our future growth also in terms of different SaaS metrics.
Perfect.
And the upselling capabilities, do your customer buy an all-in system, or is there actually some features you can see that you can upsell to customers in the future?
I think there's quite many probably in the future of upsell opportunities, but two interesting ones now. Many times when we start, at least in a large organization, it will be the executives, the senior management, and maybe middle management involved. And then after a while, they might want to cascade it to the complete organization or a bigger part of the organization. So you will have upsell there, just as natural more users. The other part is we are enabling the platform to serve the ESG agenda. It can have actually been able to do that all the time, but now we are enabling specific features and dashboards and reporting functions where you can map your corporate strategy to ESG and build that so you follow execution. That is a potential upsell, as an example. The ecosystem part is not necessarily something you need, but you might need it later. We can deliver group accounts. I mean, you might want a whole group, and then you will also have upsell opportunities on these parts, as an example.
Thank you. So moving on to scalability, we have talked about that where you are in terms of the geographical markets, but what about, can you elaborate on the onboarding time, the sales process, and so on?
Sales process, we in general say it's 3 to 9 months. In fact, it is probably 3 weeks till 9 months. But we, of course, there are fast decision makers out there, and also those who are very structured about this already, because we are offering an infrastructure for the strategy. And if you have everything deployed in Excel or spreadsheets or stuff like that, then it's very easy to convert. So that can be fast decision makers. Sorry, I forgot the rest of the question.
Yeah, so the onboarding time of when you got a new customer.
The onboarding time for new customer, the ones we have onboarded this year has been between 3 and 6 weeks. The total time span, but I mean, to get their stuff into the platform, that's 1 or 2 days or something like that. But of course, then there need to be meetings with management and introductions and all that. So it's very fast onboarding, so they can be up and running within 4 weeks if they want to, or faster. So only depending how you dedicate your time.
Yes, and moving on to the technology level, you've also touched this point, but why exactly is your SaaS platform competitive and maybe better than your competitors? I'm not sure whether you have so many competitors yet, but maybe you can elaborate on this one in terms of focusing on the technology level.
Yeah, I think one thing where we are still ahead of many of our competitors is we from the beginning have chosen an agnostic approach to this. So that means we really don't care which kind of strategic methodology you're using. So we can almost deploy any kind of methodology in the platform and customize it without any technical problems, just by configure the platform. When you're going to do customer, say, okay, you want it like this. We have this business logic. When you work with strategy, then we deploy it for that. We are mobile. And then I think we also very strong knowledge around it. And then we also built like an accounting system, so which many are not. So you also can ensure the strategic governance around this. And then we are integratable with everything with an API. we are very strong technology in general, so we can add a lot in the coming years. And also doing that right now.
Okay, and we have also talked about the market. If we dive into some of your more total addressable, maybe we can call it verticals. We have talked that you are targeting, or you have actually customers in different verticals already now. But are any or some verticals more maybe interested or having a higher demand for your platform than others? Or are you focusing more on some relative to other, or is it all industries that you basically are targeting?
I think we are suitable for kind of almost all industries that has a lot of demands on reporting and governance might have a bigger interest in this. So as you may know, we are in insurance industry. We are in utilities in several countries. So of course that could have an effect, but we are actually just more looking for those who are mature to work with strategy like this, as it's an unmature market. But public sector absolutely has a big potential for this, and I think we have also here a competitive advantage towards our competitors, and we have actually also just hired a former CEO of municipality to help us with scoping this for the municipalities. So that's it.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, and finally, so you in your presentation you answered why DecideAct is a good company, but maybe you can elaborate more on this and say why should investors then invest in your company relative to other SaaS sectors, or maybe you can just pinpoint one or two of the key arguments.
Yeah, I think most of the investors we have today have a long sight with investment, because we are early stage in the market. There's a huge potential upside in this. It is a market, every company works with strategy, or any organization almost. So there is a need to modernize that. It can, we have modernized, optimized, streamlined, leaned, and now taking our organization through digitalization, but not the management suite in terms of strategy. There's huge potential here to get no more losses. We just started up today in actually with a little new thing. With a new selling partner in South Korea, so we also branching a bit out of the the core. It's a potential everywhere.
Perfect, and maybe a little bit on the competitive side. What sets you apart from the competitors, and who are they? Are they the old world? I can see someone mentioned here, I don't know this sector so good. And the question and answers, can you talk a little about the competitors? Are someone doing the same as you? Are doing it a little bit different? And how do you see in this competition? Or is it the old times consultants like McKinsey you want to drive out of or help do better by the customers?
Yeah, well, we can start with the last one and say we are probably not a competitor for them now. We can, of course, strengthen their work for many of strategy consultancies, so they actually add more value to their customers. But if you look at McKinsey others, then of course when we have more AI enabled and can predict more, then it might influence some of the analytics works they're doing. If you look at competitors, they are what we see out there is mostly commodity tools. So, okay, you can convert them online, but you also stuck to use a specific methodology like OKR or something else, and you cannot tweak that. Well, you can always shoehorn it, but it will not serve you as it should. And then, of course, there are coming new ones up here and there, and also some in US, one in Australia, but there's still so big opportunity in this market. So it's more the question, who is capable of being a unicorn, or at least to take a big chunk of the market right now, then we are not really meeting them on the doorstep.
That's an important, when you get into a company, you are not facing competitors, you are facing the reluctance not to use the old Excel sheet. Should I understand it like that?
Yeah, that's the biggest competitor, I would think, or the thing that everybody knows the problem, but very few knows there are solutions that can help you in a modern way. And so that's a cultural change, because it also changed the whole leadership. You suddenly have facts every month on how you're doing on your strategy, not only the goals, but how you're executing. Where should I dig in? It gives agility to strategy execution, which is extremely important, especially in times like COVID. And COVID, by the way, had also given us a better position to grow because it had matured many organizations to work like this faster than we could have expected. So in that sense, it had been an advantage for us till now.
Perfect. Let's let that be the roundup. And thank you, Flemming, for taking us through your company and accepting our speedometers and everything. And we will move on to the next company, which is Impero, in 5 minutes.